Hey everyone, welcome back. Another day, another avalanche of AI news in healthcare. Um, we've got a lot to cover today, so let's jump right in.
Yeah, it really feels like every day there's a new breakthrough or a big investment. It's
Absolutely, and that's exactly why we do this deep dive every day, right? To help all of you keep up with this fast-moving world.
exactly trying to make sense of it all. So,
So let's start with something I know a lot of our listeners out there, especially the providers, can relate to: physician burnout. And, one of the biggest contributors to that
oh
is
yeah, no doubt, the
the
paperwork.
never-ending paperwork. Yeah, all that clinical documentation.
It's a huge problem, but the good news is AI is stepping up to help.
Hmm.
And one of the most exciting areas is AI medical scribes.
Okay, AI medical scribes.
Yeah.
So how does that actually work?
Well, they use natural language processing, or NLP, and that basically means they can listen in on patient consultations and automatically generate those detailed clinical notes.
Wow, so it's kind of like having a super efficient assistant in the room taking notes for you without needing any coffee breaks.
Exactly. And early data shows that some doctors are already seeing time savings of up to 20%, which is incredible.
That's a huge chunk of time that could be given back to patient care. Of course,
Yeah.
we have to think about the potential downsides too, data privacy, accuracy, all that.
Absolutely right. Those are critical considerations. We need to make sure those notes are secure and accurate. But I think the potential here is undeniable.
I agree. Okay, let's switch gears now and talk about drug discovery.
Yeah.
And there's some really interesting news here. AMD, the tech giant known for its powerful processors, has just invested $20 million in a company called Absci Corporation.
AMD is really getting into the healthcare game here. And what's interesting is they're specifically focusing on the development of therapeutic antibodies, also called biologics. And they're going to be using their high-performance GPUs to speed up Absci's AI-powered drug discovery platform.
So basically, they're bringing their big guns to the fight against disease.
Exactly. And this puts them in direct competition with companies like NVIDIA, who've also been making big moves in AI drug development.
It's fascinating to see how the tech world is really starting to recognize the potential of AI in healthcare.
It's a smart move. I mean, the faster we can develop new treatments, the better off everyone will be.
Absolutely. Now, for a completely different story, let's head over to the UK. They're doing something pretty bold. They're opening up access to NHS data for tech companies.
This is a big development. It's all about encouraging AI innovation in areas like personalized medicine and predictive analytics.
So you're talking about things like tailoring treatments to individual patients based on their genes, or even predicting health problems before they happen.
Exactly. And while there are definitely some privacy concerns, the UK government is putting strict regulations and anonymization techniques in place to try to protect patient data.
Okay, so it's a balancing act, trying to encourage innovation while also safeguarding privacy.
Exactly. And if they can get it right, the UK could become a global leader in this space.
It's definitely a story to watch. All right, let's move on to our next story, and this one.
Is about a critical shortage that's been flying under the radar for a while now.
Oh yeah, and it's only getting worse. The shortage of pathologists.
Right. It's a serious problem that's causing delays in diagnoses and treatment all over the world.
And that's where this company Deciphex comes in. They're based in Dublin, and they just raised 31 million euros to expand their AI-powered diagnostic tools.
Deciphex is doing some really cool stuff. They've developed these platforms called Diagnexia and Patholytics that use AI to help pathologists analyze digital pathology images.
So it's not about replacing pathologists. It's
Yeah.
more like giving them an extra set of eyes.
Exactly. It's all about augmenting their abilities and making them more efficient so they can focus on their really complex cases.
So these AI platforms can help them spot things that a human might miss, leading to faster and more accurate diagnoses.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And that means faster treatment for patients, which is what matters most.
It's a great example of how AI can be used to solve real-world problems in healthcare.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of real-world problems, let's talk about the growing need for home healthcare, especially with our aging population.
Absolutely. This is another area where AI is making a huge impact.
We're seeing companies like Cera, a UK-based startup that's already reached unicorn status.
Yeah, they're valued at over $1 billion.
That's amazing. So what does Cera's platform actually do?
It's basically a proactive healthcare system. It uses patient data to predict potential health problems and try to prevent hospitalizations. For example, it can detect early signs of infections or falls.
So it's almost like having a virtual guardian angel watching over patients in their own homes.
Exactly. And the platform integrates with things like wearables and home monitoring systems to give a complete picture of the patient's health. It can even alert caregivers or family members if there's a problem.
Wow, that's really taking personalized care to a whole new level.
It really is. And it shows how AI is transforming healthcare in so many different ways,
Yeah.
from reducing paperwork to speeding up drug discovery to improving patient care at home.
It's all incredibly exciting. But with all this progress, we have to make sure we don't forget about the human side of healthcare.
Absolutely. As AI takes on more tasks, we need to make sure it's used to enhance the relationship between patients and doctors, not replace it.
Exactly. Technology should be a tool that empowers both patients and providers,
Mm.
not something that creates a distance between them.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's still about people, right? It's about caring for people.
Absolutely. And that's something we can't afford to lose sight of. So as we move forward with all these AI advancements, we need to be asking ourselves some tough questions. Like, how do we make sure AI is used ethically and responsibly in healthcare?
Exactly. We've seen AI being used to help with burnout, speed up drug discovery, and even provide care at home. But what are some other key areas that we need to be thinking about?
Well, for starters, transparency is really important.
Hmm.
Patients need to understand how AI is being used in their care, and they should have a say in how their data is being
Oh,
used.
their data after all.
And then there's the issue of accuracy and fairness. We need to make sure these AI systems are constantly being monitored and improved because let's face it, they're not perfect. No technology is perfect.
Right.
And when it comes to something as important as healthcare, we can't just blindly trust algorithms.
Exactly. And that's where education comes in. Healthcare providers need to be trained on how to use these AI tools effectively and how to interpret the results.
It's a learning curve for everyone involved, for sure.
It is. But I think it's an exciting time to be in healthcare. We're on the cusp of a major transformation, and AI is going to play a huge role in shaping the future.
So what advice would you give to our listeners, many of whom are healthcare providers themselves, as they navigate this new world?
I'd say embrace the change, but be cautious. Stay informed about the latest developments, ask questions, and make sure you're advocating for the responsible use of AI in your practice. And never forget that at its core, healthcare is about human connection and compassion. That's something that no machine can ever replace.
Well said. That's a great note to end on, I think. It's been another fascinating deep dive into the world of AI and healthcare. We've seen some incredible advancements, explored some potential benefits, and talked about the importance of ethical considerations. As always, we encourage all of you to stay curious, keep asking those tough questions, and let's work together to build a future of healthcare that benefits everyone.